All right. So, patch notes, guys. So you guys, if you watch my stream, or if you watch my YouTube, or if you read my Twitter, or honestly these days, even if you look at the Underlords subreddit, if you play the game, if you've ever queued into the same lobby as me, if you've seen me emoting in our game when you've queued into the same lobby as me, you probably know how I feel about the current meta. All right. Let's start with a tiny update. I'm gonna preface this by saying, I don't think this patch is perfect. I do think it actually fixes a couple things, though. All right, a tiny update. So yesterday, as of today, yesterday was Thursday. Today's Friday. In the evening, they released their Thursday update. It was very small. They changed very little, and a lot of people, myself included, got outraged. I wouldn't say outraged personally for myself, but a lot of people on Reddit were complaining. I was kind of definitely like face palming a little bit. Is that something people still do? Face palm? I think that hasn't been a thing for nobody said that for like 10 years. Let's talk about what this is at first, because there was the second update later. Okay, so as you probably noticed, today's update is pretty small. Let's chat about why this is and what's coming. We talked about our plans. We detailed the features we were working on in the next big update. Internally, we are calling that update the Big Update, and it's one of the last milestones on our road to Season 1. This update will include 2 playable Underlords, the Duos team mode, 6 new heroes, 3 new alliances, and an updated user interface. So, ooh, big, a lot of things. But it doesn't mean that Duos isn't coming out until later, which is a bit of a delay, because they've made references to Duos coming out like last week or this week or next week. Okay, we're currently shooting to release this update in the first half of October. It's the first half of October. When people say that, they basically mean the 3rd week of October. Honestly, in dev talk, this is pretty much an average thing to expect. I know that might seem weird, but usually, sometimes it's the 2nd week of October, but usually it will actually be the 3rd week, and it'll be like a little bit delayed. Either way, you should just expect it around the Ides of October. Okay. So the final stop will come not long after, with the official launch of the complete game in 1.0. This will come with 2 more Underlords, the Battle Pass City Crawl, and will be the official beginning of Underlord Season 1. To give you an idea how far apart the internal and external builds are, here's our current dashboard. Yeah. So here's Anna 6. So this is a demon lady. She actually looks quite a bit different than on the main menu, right? She looks really different. This is a 3D rendered model. Wait a second. Because on the main menu, she looks like this. Her skin color is completely different. She's like drawn. Wait. That's so weird. I kind of like the old version better. Am I weird? I just like something about this just speaks to me a little more. Like, when I see this, I see tingles. I'm just like, But this is like, So something about this. I'm not sure what it is. These differences extend to other areas as well and are fully intertwined, making it difficult to ship them separately. This is why we've decided to spend all our efforts on finishing and shipping everything together. You can expect any updates from the few weeks to be more like bugs and balance categories where you prepare for the release of the big update. I cannot wait to talk more about Season 1 with you, so expect to hear about it soon. So, I do personally think, first of all, it's a bit disappointing that Duos, at least, isn't going to be out for a while. They're just doing everything all at once, which, I was kind of expecting, like, this week we'd have something cool, next week we'd have something cool. Because they kind of hinted, like, when we were looking through it the other day, they were talking about where a long time ago, this would have been 3 weeks ago. We went through this yesterday, and, like, there's just, like, kind of the wording and the way they delivered this. It heavily implied that they were releasing these as like different things, like Duos in the next week or two, then Underlords in a few weeks, and then lastly Heroes and Alliances, right? Like that's the kind of thing that I was expecting, and I think that would have been better for me personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys agree. I know a lot of my friends, like a lot of people in like the Lords Discord, are saying basically see you guys next month kind of thing. Like a lot of people are, kind of they're gonna put the game into like a kind of hibernation mode, and they're just gonna be like, well, yeah, I mean, I still like the game, but I'm not going to be playing it a lot or even maybe at all in the next month, because the meta is a little stale, and because, you know, these new content things are not going to be happening for a while. Like, the next month is just going to be bugs and balance, right? So that was the first update. And like I said, a lot of people were a little outraged at that. There were a couple posts on the Underlords subreddit, as expected. A lot of it was talking about, you know, disappointment that this is going to be delayed. Honestly, though, I don't even really hate that. Like, one side of me is a little annoyed that this is delayed, and I kind of wish that it was sooner. But, I mean, delays happen, and that's a development process. Like, that's something that, I mean, you shouldn't feel entitled as a player. These things happen. They have their reasons. We don't know their reasons. And it probably makes a lot of sense internally, right? The one problem for me, the one really, really big problem for me is the current meta, right? That being said, I mean, this last thing where it says you can expect any updates the next few weeks to be more in bugs and balance category as we prepare for the release of the big update. I mean, honestly, I don't think I would hate it if they just kind of like nailed balance of the game. If they made it feel like a balanced meta. So right now, for those of you guys who don't know, we have been for the past 3 weeks in probably the longest and most people would say worst, kind of unhealthiest meta that the game has been in for a while. A lot of people are trying to like stay positive because a lot of people still like the game, but the meta just, you know, incentivizes some really kind of unfun, you play the same thing every game sort of gameplay. Which isn't really great, and it just has been like this tier 0 good stuff builds that everyone has been forcing. So if they actually like address this properly and make the balance good for the next, like, I guess, I mean, it is a full month. We probably shouldn't be expecting this in the first week of October. When they say first half of October, I really think like the average release date of first half of October is probably going to be, yeah, like the third week. I mean, if they're releasing on Thursdays here, let me look at my calendar real quick. So if they're releasing on Thursdays, October 2019, Thursday means October 17th. I would personally be shocked if this update was before October 17th, because like 17 is on a Thursday. They're gonna be like, well, we aimed for the first half. It's the week of the first half. The 14th falls in the same week, so, you know, I mean, they'll get away with that, and that's fine. That's probably what they have in mind, but that is legitimately 5 weeks from now, right? That's even more than a month. So, I don't think I would hate it if the game was more balanced, but I guess we'll move up to the second patch they had later on in the evening, a couple of hours later, where they kind of saw the sort of outbursts that were happening on Reddit. A couple people were like tweeting stuff, and let's go ahead and see what's actually going on balance-wise with the game right now, which I'm sure everyone's waiting to see. Okay, so we have updated our servers with the following changes. All right, so the following changes in this case. Give me 1 second. Oops. Following changes means reduce the chance of finding tier 4 units by 5% from level 6 to level 8. So this is a huge deal for good stuff. This is probably the single biggest change that has happened. And this was what spawned good stuff 3 weeks ago. Good stuff has been becoming more and more popular. Like, I've been playing it more. You know, other people, Bebe has been, I think, touting it for the past, like, 3 or 4 days or so. I don't think he was a believer at first, but, I mean, at least for the past few days, he's been, like, recommending people to spam it. I mean, even I was, like, I wasn't super early on the train. Like, I've been playing good stuff for, like, 2 weeks now, but some people have been playing it for, like, 3.5 weeks, right? Like, some people have been playing it since, like, before it was cool. And I mean, this was all caused by basically 3 weeks ago, where they bumped tier 4 odds up by a lot and increased the tier 4 population to 20, right? And that's a really, really big deal. So now they're kind of stepping that backwards. They're kind of reducing this. And Yusu in chat is saying, can't you just level 10 quickly? And That's actually exactly true. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. Let me step back a little bit first, though, and actually talk about what the exact odds are, because this doesn't actually say, and that's that's a little annoying actually. So I can go ahead and pull this up here. These are going to be the odds. This is from something like Grey Mao sent in the Discord, and this is basically just like the new odds. So this is level like 6 through 8 or 6 through 10 rather, and as we can see, these are like the new teardrop probabilities on the upper columns. So if we look at this, we see that on level 6, you have a 5% odd at the tier 4 drops instead of the 10% it was before, and that's just like coming out from tier 1s. At level 7, it's 10 coming out from the tier 1s again. And at level 8, it's 15. And then at 9, it spikes to 25. Whereas before, it was 10, 15, 20, 25. It was just a gradual increase. And already, even with that gradual increase, people were already spiking to 9. The most popular strategy for good stuff was to go to level 9 on anywhere between 22 and 25. You would do it on 21 if you had like the super nuttiest game ever, but you would go to 9 between 22 and 25, and then you go to 10 on 31 almost always, but 33 sometimes. That was the level timing of good stuff, right? People will already go to 9 super early. So what this change does is it's kind of interesting. It does address it in certain ways, which is that specifically, you know, when you're playing good stuff, it's hard to get the stuff online earlier. Because good stuff, when good stuff can get like a level 2 Doom, or a level 2 Arc Warden, when it can nail that on like round 21 or round 22 without rolling, because you're not rolling at this point in the game, but you know, maybe you pick up one Arc Warden randomly on like round 11, you pick up another on 16, and you complete it on 19, you know, that's like, wow, I can greed to 9 now, I have a nutty thing. That doesn't really happen anymore with these new odds, not to the same degree. It's definitely going to hurt their ability to complete these early free units. But at the same time, it's important to understand that this does literally increase the incentive to level to 9, right? Like leveling to 9, if you want to play good stuff early, is kind of more important than ever. So they're not deleting good stuff as a build. It's just you have to level to 9 early, which was the way to play it anyway, right? It's going to be a little bit harder to kind of like freely carry yourself until then. You'll probably have to make a little bit more like early game upgrade plays. Like for example, there's a lot of situations where if you watch my videos, you'll see me not upgrade like a Treant Protector, you know, because I'll be like on round 18, I'll be like, why upgrade this now? It's already too late. I'm going to be replacing my board with Warlock soon. Maybe this change, because things are like lagging behind, will incentivize me to do like temporary upgrades like that, because my board is going to fall behind a little bit. Okay, so that's one big change. One thing I will say about this that's really important is this is not just a change to good stuff, okay? And let's talk about why that is. Let's talk a little bit about why good stuff has been so good in the past few weeks, because a lot of people don't understand exactly why it has been, and a lot of people are actually skeptical and think that it actually hasn't been that good, which is honestly kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so tier 4 odds. When you look at tier 4s, about half of these are actually part of good stuff. A pretty shocking amount. That's Alchemist, Arc Warden, Doom, sometimes Kunkka, Necrophos, and Tidehunter. That's like, it's basically like half of an entire category is part of a build. When that happens, it's very dangerous, right? Because like when you look at, for example, let's look at like Scrappies who have a couple tier 3 options. It's like you're in Clockwork and you're in Tinker. And then if you're in Assassins, you're in Slark and you're in Phantom Assassin. That's like it for your tier 3 Scrappies. But we have a build where good stuff was representing basically half of an entire tier, which is a problem. Part of the reason that's a problem is because when the odds go up, when the odds of tier 4s go up, that means you're finding all these tier 4s. If you're in a build that's not good stuff and you're finding all these good stuff units, it feels really bad. So another way to look at this change is it's not just a nerf to good stuff. This is actually a bit of a buff to other things as well. More on that later. but specifically the fact that let's say you're in Knights, or let's say you're in Scrappies, okay? You're not going to be finding these tier 4 units. In Scrappies, you might want to pair Warlocks, so that might hurt that one Warlock you're looking for. But because you're going to have less odds of finding these tier 4 units, that's good for your build. You want the other things. You want the 2 costs and the 3 costs to 3-star your CK or your Abaddon or whatever, right?